What's going on, guys? This is Carroll from MyMMAnews.com, Carroll's Corner MMA podcast. We got Johnny Pierro here. Johnny, appreciate you joining me.
Of course, no problem. I'm excited to be on the show. Hopefully get a good interview done for you guys.
Awesome. And Johnny, you're fighting on Jackhammer Promotions on the undercard for English Invasion 3. Tell us a little bit about your fight and your event coming up.
Well, I'm actually super excited. I'm happy Bobby was able to get me on that card. I've seen a few things from their past events. I know they put on really great shows. And, I just want to make myself better as a martial artist, take myself out of my comfort zone. As some of you may or may not know, I have about 4 amateur MMA fights. Anyone that has watched any of my fights, it's pretty obvious I like to wrestle. So to work on my striking, I felt like the best way to really commit myself to doing that was to put myself in a situation where I can't use my bread and butter, which would be my wrestling skills. So I'm really just trying to take myself out of my comfort zone and put myself to the test in a different aspect of martial arts.
Now, what about jumping into it, taking yourself out of the comfort zone? What about doing a kickboxing fight? Might make you nervous or excited? What are little things that kind of open your eyes a little, I guess?
Well, it's always nerve-wracking taking yourself out of your comfort zone, no matter what it is, whether it's fighting or anything else in life. But I feel like to just better yourself as a person, you got to take yourself out of that comfort zone just in order to grow. I think for the most part, I'm excited. Obviously there's, a little bit of nerves there. First kickboxing fight, I'm not going to be able to, throw people around like I've had in my past fights. So, it definitely should be interesting. And, I'm just hoping I can put on a great show for everybody and, just better my skills.
Awesome. And talk about your MMA career so far. You had a couple fights. Tell us a little bit about the last couple of recent fights for yourself.
Well, my start of my career, 2-0. I won 2 first-round submissions within the first minute and 30 seconds, I believe. First fight, broke the guy's arm in about a minute 7. He didn't tap out. Second fight was just a little bit longer than that, and I finished with a arm triangle choke. Then the next fight after that, I was supposed to fight on a different card in Staten Island, and when I was training for that card, which eventually fell through during that fight camp, I got, a little bit of an injury, but then, training stepped up and they offered me a fight, which, I was already training for a fight. I wanted to fight. So I wound up fighting Ryan Castro, didn't go my way, it's whatever. And then just recently I fought Stepan Prokopiak, great guy, really good fighter. Same thing during that camp, because of this injury I've been sort of dealing with, I didn't really get to train as hard as I wanted to, and me just kind of wanting to ignore it and go in the stupid way about it, and when should have went to the doctor, should have did this. I'm not trying to make excuses, but it happened. Luckily it happened, and I didn't get hurt in any other way. So I'm just gonna take from it, just to be a little bit smarter with my training, take care of my body, and just go forward. It happened, so I'm just trying to look forward as best as possible.
And you kind of answered what I was going to ask you next, what you learned from with those 2 fights, those 2 losses. But aside from the Stepan fight, what did you learn from fighting a guy like Ryan Castro, who's a little bit more experienced? I think he had 20-something fights. And then he's going pro. What did you learn from just being in a cage with him?
No, of course it was a good experience. I remember the first actual live event that I attended for mixed martial arts was actually when he won the welterweight title for KTFO.
Okay.
So, so I've been used to seeing him fight a little bit, even from before I got started. I believe my one of my teammates, Irvin Averbrook, that was his first or second fight. I think it was his first fight that Castro won the title. So, Castro was on my radar a little bit, and then I know, he went down to lightweight, and then he would go back up and forth, so I didn't know if our paths would ever cross. And then, when I had the opportunity to fight, even though it was on, it was probably about 4 or 5 days notice, I couldn't just refuse. I wanted to go in there, see what would happen. And, unfortunately it didn't go my way, but, now I'm just going to learn from it and use it to better myself for my next fights.
Definitely. And now, do you feel 100% going into this fight? Tell us how your health is right now heading into Jackhammer.
Well, right now, definitely my health is honestly the best it's been probably since August. For those of you that
Mm-hmm.
don't know, like I had two herniated discs in my back
Oh,
since August. So, it's my fault for not getting it checked out sooner and, sort of just trying to like work around it. I thought I can do it. Then, a few times I'm fighting, I'm wrestling, I got to the point where it's hard to walk a little bit. So, a little scary, but luckily, when I went to the doctor, it wasn't anything like where like real permanent damage was there. It was something that could be fixed. So right now, like, it was hard after that step on fight because, it was the second fight I lost in a row, it was kind of a hard pill to swallow. But
mm-hmm.
it opened my eyes to really be like, Johnny, you really got to take care of your body. You really got to train the right way. If you're feeling something's not right, go get it checked out right away. Don't try to push through it, especially, it's not worth it. I'm only 21 years old. I have the rest of my career ahead of me. There's no use in, messing it up
Yeah,
this early
definitely.
on. So, so
And,
right now I feel pretty good. I was able to rest it for a few months. Now I'm feeling even extra motivated, more so after those two losses to go in there and put on a great show for everybody.
also, I'm sure it really definitely teaches people that how important recovery is compared to
Oh, 100%.
just preparing, because not many people talk about the recovery process as well.
Oh, 100%. I mean, listen, when you're training for a fight camp, it really takes a toll on your body
Mm-hmm.
because you're going at it. You're training, if you're doing strength and conditioning, that might be an hour or two every day. If you're doing 2 or 3 training sessions each time, it's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours every day. What I'm saying? Maybe one day during the week to like just rest and not do anything. But, sometimes that's just not enough. A fight camp's really rough. You're getting ready for a fight, and not even just physically, mentally too. So, my advice would be to anybody, anybody coming up or anybody, even if they have more experience than me and they haven't felt this problem yet, if you have something that's really bothering you, it's not worth it. Get it checked out, see what your doctor says. You know, Doctor's opinion, is always gonna be worth it, believe me.
Definitely, definitely. Now after this fight, what are you looking forward to for? Are you going to get back in the cage or try another kickboxing fight? What are your mentality moving forward?
Well, obviously my main goal would be the MMA spectrum of things,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm definitely not opposed to, taking another kickboxing fight, another few kickboxing fights, jumping into some big grappling tournaments and all that stuff, because I'm just trying to do whatever I can to better my overall MMA game. So, we'll see how the time frame works out. Maybe if, this fight goes, God willing, like I don't get any like get any more injured than I was or get anything else, maybe in a few weeks, see what else can be lined up for me. But
Now,
taking it one fight at a time.
definitely. Now I see you're still at UFC gym on Staten Island, right?
Yeah, well, right now my thing is like I'm doing a lot of my working there, but I recently just started training at Nick Catone's MMA in Brick, New Jersey.
Okay. And how was that? Because I know there's a lot of good fighters that train there.
Yeah, no, it's really crazy, especially a few of my friends from Staten Island. The reason I got involved with that was a few of the guys from Staten Island. They were making the drive out there, and they were told me, "Yo, you should really come check it out." So I went and checked it out, and after the first day, I was hooked. They have a really great program there. Even the people that just come in there and take like regular classes, like they got some skill. Like even the people that are just like average Joes, like not trying to fight or anything, like they
Mm-hmm.
make you work when you're in the classes with them. And all the amateurs there, as far as their amateurs go in Jersey, I feel like that's the best place. You could probably train with the level of amateurs they got there right now.
Definitely. Now I see you're also teaching classes, right?
Yes, I am at UFC Gym Staten Island. I usually teach the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu program, and then once a week I'll try to teach like a bit of a wrestling practice, mix things up, and I'm also involved with the kids program as well,
Now,
which is probably my favorite part.
now as a coach myself, I've coached high school wrestling in the past.
Mhm.
Um, how much has coaching helped you learn as a fighter? Because I believe like just detail and everything. How much has it helped you?
It really helps because even like when I had these past injuries going on, and the only thing I was able to do was teach. I really couldn't train. It helps keep the mind sharp. So even though if you're not getting your physical training in at the time, just helping others, what I'm saying, and watching other people, roll or spar, or, you're showing them techniques. It teaches you a lot because then you might notice things that you normally wouldn't notice when you're doing it yourself.
Mm. Definitely. I think if anyone who's fighting or competing, you can coach or help teach. I think it brings opens your eyes and enlightens you a lot
Yeah.
more than just just learning. So
100%. It's definitely something, it's different because, I'm a firm believer of even if you fight good, that doesn't translate well to coaching all the time. And,
hmm
not the bet, and even people that didn't have like a good like career fighting or whatever, you see guys like turn into great coaches. I mean, look at guys like Freddie Roach, like, he wasn't the best guy when he was fighting, but look at him as a coach. He's really out there and up there with the best coaches of all time in any combat sport. So, proof's in the pudding. It's two very different skills, but if you can translate well into coaching, I would definitely advise people to try doing it because it will help out your game.
Definitely, definitely. Now, tell us a little bit about like what motivates you and inspires you. You're talking about you had two herniated discs in your back.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that might pull like derail a lot of people's future career in the sport and say, it's not worth it, it's my back,
Yeah.
and take the other route. You decided to continue. You're going to get in a kickboxing fight, continue MMA. What inspires you to keep going and fighting?
This ever since I started this, it's just been my dream. So, I would have to say that if anything, I'm probably one that tries to motivate myself the most because, I love my support from my friends, my family, teammates, everybody. But at the end of the day, like, MMA is an individual sport.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how much support you have, you go in there to cage locks, it's just you. So as long as, you can push yourself past that discomfort and past, all those bumps in the road and just try to, see that future ahead and push through, I think no matter who you are, whether you're talented, not so talented, you're working hard, you're just pushing through, there's no way you can't get somewhere.
Definitely. And before we went live, we were talking about the seminar.
Mm-hmm.
I guess kind of throw it out there. Tell us a little bit about what you learned from the seminar because they had
It was
Bassarut in there and
crazy.
a few other big name people.
Yeah, Andy Sauer, um, Boss, Dwayne Ludwig, Liam Harrison, a lot of really good guys. Shane Faison from Fight Tips on YouTube. I know some of you guys might,
Mm-hmm.
follow him on YouTube. Really, really great seminar. It was really informative. A lot of really good people there. And it was really cool, like just seeing all these, differences of styles, like Shinzo Machida, like bringing that Machida style karate that you've seen his brother Lyoto Machida, former UFC light heavyweight champion, using the UFC so effectively for so many years. It was cool to be able to be there and pick their brains a little bit and also like put your spin on things.
Definitely. Was there anything one specific thing that you learned from any of the teachers at the seminar?
Well, I'd have to say probably my favorite was actually Liam Harrison, like showing some of the different ways to avoid the tie plump clinch and just like maneuver opponents because just the way and the technique he would throw his body into these, it's just crazy watching it. So I think that's overall going to help me the most because like I said, like it's no secret I like to wrestle. So once I get back
Mm-hmm.
into the cage in my MMA game, some people might have to watch out for that, but I'm not going to give too much of that away.
Definitely, definitely. Now that you're not fighting under novice rules, so you don't have to wear the shin guards, and you're allowed to ground and pound to the
Mm-hmm.
face in amateur now. How has that changed your game? All do you think there's a difference in all?
Eh, I mean, there's definitely like a little bit of a difference, like in the training, like when I was getting ready for those first few fights. Like when I'm training, I'm sparring. If it ended up on the ground, we're doing full MMA contact style sparring. You know, no punching to the face, avoiding all that stuff. But now I'm glad that the novice rules are over and done with, and now I think you guys are going to see a whole other animal now.
Awesome. I know we're looking forward to it. Before we wrap it up, I guess a couple more questions for fans that are following you. How can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Johnny Pierro MMA on Instagram. You can also follow me or friend me on Facebook at Johnny Pierro. As far as social media, that's all I have. But if you really want to get in touch with me, I would advise, Instagram is probably the best way at Johnny Pierro MMA.
Awesome. And I'm assuming you're receiving a lot of support. Do you have any sponsors? Anyone you want to recognize and shout out?
I got a few people. I got Trevor's contracting here on Staten Island. They've been really helping me out. Trevor actually comes to UFC, so I see him quite on a daily basis. I'm
Awesome.
friends with his family. Really, really good guy. And he's been there supporting me since I started. Obviously Coach Freddie, because he's the one who was the first person to really believe in me to start.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into the fighting and stuff like that, and actually going out there and performing in front of people. I'd like to thank Security Innovations. They're also good friends of mine. They've been helping me out these past few fights. Extremely grateful for all the love and support that I've been getting, both from my sponsors, my friends, my family, and of course, my teammates.
Awesome. Last question before we wrap it up. What's one thing about you that fans don't know but you would like to share?
Uh, what's one thing? I mean, I guess one thing could be, I don't know. I have a weird pet. I don't like people cutting my hair. The only person to this day that I let me cut my hair is my mom. So,
Okay.
she right now she's in Florida. She's listening to this. She's probably cracking up as I'm saying this right now, but it's true. I can't have anybody else touch my hair. I don't know why. Since I'm little, any barbershop I've ever went to, they cut my hair. I don't like it. Even now, I got the beanie on because my hair's not cut. Because I'm waiting for her to come down and cut it for me.
You don't want to pull the mop out,
Nah, nah.
huh?
Not today.
Awesome.
We'll save that for another time.
I know what you mean. It's always tough to find a good barber, especially when you relocate and move from
No,
places.
of course. Of
So, hey,
course.
Johnny, a pleasure to have you on. Like
Thank you
always,
so
pleasure
much. It's always a
talking to
pleasure
you.
talking to you, Kyle.
Awesome. So, hey, guys, if you want to watch Johnny Pierro fight April 15th at McClahey's Pub, I think there's a few tickets left. Hit him up for tickets or go to Bobby Campbell or go to the door. Otherwise, there's not many tickets left. It's on April 15th. That's a Sunday. So make sure you guys, English Invasion 3 is on the undercard. So, Johnny, I appreciate you coming on and thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Kyle.
Have a good one, buddy, and good luck.
You too. Thank you very much. I'll see you then.